Hi guys, my name is Kaylee Revis, and today I'll be talking about a grant proposal for an educational intervention on using cardiovascular exercise to treat depression in collegiate student athletes. This is an interdisciplinary project in public health, psychology, and biology. So the purpose of this grant proposal is to use an interdisciplinary approach to educate collegiate student athletes on the island of Oahu about the benefits of cardiovascular exercise in assisting and treating depression. So my intervention plan would be to go around to the different universities on Oahu and talk to the collegiate student athletes that are at the university and present to them a short educational video. The purpose of this video, followed by a survey, would be to educate others about the influence of exercise on depression, as well as document the student athletes' thoughts on the subject before and after viewing the educational video. The purpose of this is to see if the educational video had any influence on them. Hopefully, with this program, it impacts attitudes and beliefs the students experience related to exercise and the onset of depressive symptoms. The budget for this grant proposal is around $120,000. So the target population is collegiate student athletes on Oahu. This target population was ideal for this project because with research, I have found that other groups or communities implementing cardiovascular exercise as a treatment option can get a little bit tricky for many factors such as physical limiting conditions, injuries, age. It just gets a little bit tricky, but with this population, as they are student athletes, they are physically cleared for cardiovascular exercise and they participate in cardiovascular exercise almost every day for whatever sport they are doing. So this was an ideal population. Also, focusing on college-age student athletes is beneficial because it's been shown that the rates of depression rise with an individual's university years. So with college student athletes, you are in college, so you have the stressor of college, as well as the stressor of just what comes with athletics as game day stress and anything like that. So the point of this intervention with this target population is to give them a way that cardiovascular exercise can be used to help with any stress or anxiety or depression that they may have due to the circumstances they are in as being a student athlete. So my theoretical background I broke down into 4 parts. The first part would be increased incidence of depression. For this, I found that 1 out of every 5 adults reports having mental illness, which I found to be a very shocking statistic because we are adults, so 1 in 5 student athletes may report having mental illness. And they also reported they could not procure necessary treatments. So with this intervention, it allows for them to find or learn about a type of treatment they can use to help with this. And then the next section was the role of exercise in treating depression. So cardiovascular exercise can have positive effects on both mental health and cognitive function. Exercise helps the brain get rid of chemicals that cause stress or anxiety, such as adrenaline, and it delivers more hormones such as dopamine and endorphins into the rest of the body through stimulation of both the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland. So when exercising, the beta endorphins released interact with the serotonin receptors in the body, and this creates an antidepressant response. And this response is similar to the reaction your body would have if an individual were to ingest an antidepressant. The difference is that this reaction occurs naturally rather than involving ingestion of synthetically made alternatives. And I thought this was important because most people are against treatment options for depression because they don't want to put things into their body. But with cardiovascular exercise, you're using your body's natural response. So I thought that was very important to include in this intervention because everything is your body producing a natural response. And then the next section was challenges as exercise as treatment. The biggest challenge is that there is no universal treatment. Not one person is the same, and everyone's body reacts differently and has different reactions physically and psychologically. So the most important thing to note for this intervention is that cardiovascular exercise may not work for everyone. It's just to educate them on how cardiovascular exercise may be useful to them. And then exploring behavior change for exercise was my last section. And I focus on 2 theories for this to help push this intervention and mold it, which would be the self-efficacy theory and theory of planned behavior. The self-efficacy theory is an attempt to evaluate an individual's formation of perception about their abilities to engage in each behavior. This can be broken down into 4 parts. which determine how well one can execute courses of action required to deal with prospective situations. And the theory of planned behavior suggests that there are certain rankings to the factors which affect whether an individual will execute the task they plan to do, such as committing to prescribed cardiovascular exercise. So these are important to tie into this intervention as well. So the relevance of this project is to integrate the use of cardiovascular exercise in treating depression in college athletes through education. This is all education based. So by leveraging literature from the biological sciences and psychology, it can be determined if cardiovascular exercise is a possible modality of treatment for people with anxiety or depression in this target population. So for me, the relevance of this, I am a student athlete and I do struggle with depression, and the implementation of cardiovascular exercise in my daily routine immediately had positive effects for me. So to go around and educate other student athletes about the possibility of how cardiovascular exercise can help them is something I really want to be able to do. So outcomes, obviously, is to educate collegiate student athletes on the correlation between these two things, because I don't think many people see cardiovascular exercise in this light. Some short-term goals would be seeing a rise in the amount of student athletes that report a positive correlation between cardiovascular exercise, as well as the management of depressive symptoms. Improving health outcomes related to depression by providing collegiate student athletes with alternative forms of treatment, such as cardiovascular exercise. And then broader implications, the implementation and maintenance of cardiovascular exercise in the everyday lives of student athletes. The goal is to improve their mental health while also assisting in improving their overall health. So this means that healthier individuals equal healthier communities. If I can educate these students on how they can help themselves, hopefully the student athlete community can become healthier overall. These are my resources. Thank you.